ಯಾವ್ದು ಆಯ್ತು ಇದು passenger ಆದ ಅವರೇ 6.6 unas prepara unas personal unas felicite আর গ্র্যান্ড ফাইনাল মানে তো গ্র্যান্ড টোটাল মানে উনাসটাও আর পাঁচ কোর্সটা লেকে তোরাও 6.377 উনাসটা দিন উনাসটা
over. He's moved on to 19 of 60 balls, and Shardul Thakur, with that cut out to the point boundary, has 6 from 3.
I don't know if the cam caught me frantically refreshing the live stream and the replays. I'm still not entirely sure what Virat Kohli was given out for, or what it hit and in which order it hit them. But he's not there anymore. Shardul Thakur is, and he's
bowled him.
That's pretty comprehensive. He's tried to leave that on length, and I think he might just have not got the bat out of the way in time and dragged it down onto the top of the stumps. And Roman Walker, against not that far off a full-strength India team, has a 5 for 13 in 8.1 overs. Shardul Thakur gone for 6. India 148 for 7.
I think it's reasonable to describe that as a misjudgment on the part of Shardul Thakur. Came back a little bit, but goodness me, that was no, he got his bat.
He didn't miss it out of the way of the ball.
It was just an appalling misjudgment, really, on his part. Did a little bit, but not a massive amount. And Thakur, hearing the sound that no batsman likes to hear in those circumstances, just turned and marched off.
I suspect, given Shardul Thakur's aggressive tendencies, getting out leaving will be particularly annoying to him. He tried, I think he thought perhaps it was going to go over the top of the stumps, but he misjudged the length. It was a little fuller than he thought it was, and it came back in sharply. There was no second line of defence, and off comes the off bail. So yeah, Roman Walker, 8.1 overs, 4 maidens, 5 for 13. India 148 for 7. Out comes Umesh Yadav to join the substitute wicketkeeper, or the backup wicketkeeper for India, KS Bharat, 19 not out of 60. We're not that. I suspect with, or I would suggest with Umesh Yadav and Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj, that Cheteshwar Pujara might be batting today at some point, perhaps.
It's beginning to look that way, isn't it? It seems very cruel, this on Roman Walker, in a way. Beautifully, though, he's bowled for his 5 for 13. It's just not really going to go down in his career records. It is not a first-class fixture, not classified as a first-class fixture, despite the fact he's bowling against high-quality batters.
Roman Walker into Umesh Yadav, who sort of flashes at that and bottom edges it past third slip, but not past backward point, who does well there, Nat Bowley, who ends up almost at the third boundary, the deep third boundary, after sprinting at that. Good stop. There is no run. Umesh Yadav can give it a thump, but not much more than that. Does hit a lot of... It's one of those tail enders who seems to hit a lot of his runs in 6s, particularly off the spinners, of whom we've seen none thus far. Walker in to Umesh Yadav, who thinks about playing it, and eventually leaves it. Could so easily have dragged that back onto the stumps, but he doesn't. There is no run. A little back stretch from Umesh Yadav. I'll be very interested to see how KS Bharat plays this now with the tail enders and 3 genuine tail end batters in Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj. It's 19 off 60. Will he try and be a little bit more aggressive, maybe, with the tail now for company? Walker in 4th ball of the over. Still just the 3 slips quite close together, and the gully. He's in and beats Umesh Yadav on the outside edge. Keeps a little bit low. This one skidded through. Roman Walker's having a good day out there, and he's you can tell he's up for it, because the hands are going to the head with nearly every ball.
He's enjoying himself, isn't he? He's not really under any pressure, and he's just he's not trying to bowl flat out, which he's usually sort of encouraged to do when he's playing for Leicestershire's first team. And he's using the pitch and his skills beautifully.
Where's this going to be to Umesh Yadav? It's going to be full and well dug out.
Dropped it.
And Roman Walker, he flung himself away to his left. He was going with his follow-through. I think that actually got to him. He had more time than I think he realised.
Yeah,
he fell over, really, as he tried to dive away to his left. It was spooned back to him by Umesh Yadav, and Walker snatched at it again, and down it went.
He won't have many simpler Courtney bowls than that, and I think in a way it was almost too simple.
He set himself as though it was going to come flying back at him, but he had more time than he realised. Last ball of the over, strikes Umesh Yadav on the thigh pad and dribbles out into the onside. That's a second wicket maiden for Roman Walker. 9 overs, 5 maidens, 5 for 13. India 148 for 7. The top order and middle order ripped apart by the ex-Glamorgan man.
Should be 6 for 13. He's kicking himself. He lay flat on his back, spread eagled for a good 3 or 4 seconds after not being able to hang on to that one. Well, it doesn't sort of matter too much in the context of the game, but goodness me, he's still got his hands briefly on his head, having put his cap back on, but he's acknowledging the applause from the members' seats alongside the pavilion here at the Upton Steel County Ground, Grace Road. Prasidh Krishna is going to continue from the pavilion end and bowls very straight to KS Bharat, who plays very straight in response. A foolish delivery on middle and leg played back down the pitch towards the bowler, who hops across, picks it up, and then he throws it to Pujara to do a spot of polishing on the bottom of his sweater.
This game has been played in a good competitive spirit, but it isn't a first-class game. I think were this a first-class competitive game, Prasidh would have been taken off by now.
In he goes, and bowls very full this time, looking to drive. It's almost oversteps it there. KS Bharat has to dig it out rather than consequently off the bottom of the bat, doesn't quite time it, and plays it more or less straight to Sam Evans, who is at extra cover, and Nat Bowley is starting to warm up now. He's going to have to get him on soon. Well, he's got a chance. That's one of Leicestershire's young spinners, a young off-spinner, tall young man.
Yet to make his first-class debut.
Correct.
I imagine Umesh Yadav will have a go.
In goes Krishna, and bowls, bounce and movement and swing, and Bharat is comprehensively beaten on the back foot. He's troubled him with his pace throughout his entire innings.
He's troubled all of India's batters with his pace and movement and bounce that he's generated from both ends, including this bowling up the hill. He's having a chat with, that's Walker at mid-on, isn't it? Having a little chat. Not entirely sure what the chat is about, but Roman Walker is just giving Prasidh a bit of encouragement and a bit of advice.
In he goes and bowls, and this time it has been driven past Evans. Again, it wasn't quite off the middle. It was full enough, though, to drive. He stepped out, got it away past Evans, around about 2/3 of the way to the boundary towards extra cover. Evans pulls it back in about 20 yards inside the ropes in front of that manual scoreboard, which reminds me, I haven't told you where the other one is. I have told at Knackle. It's at Kent, it's at Canterbury, the old ground at Canterbury, the St Lawrence ground at Canterbury on the Les Ames stand. But that and this, which is in a sort of cupola, it has a cupola clock on top of it. In goes, down the leg side, that one from Krishna. And it is going to be Byes, much to Bates' disappointment. He did try to whip it away, KS Bharat, didn't get anything on it, and it sort of swung on down the leg side, and Bates, who's a long way back, couldn't get across to his left to cover it. And again, an indication from Bharat that there was movement there, but from Krishna that there was movement there. Well, he knows that, that's for sure.
A couple of times the ball's moved so extravagantly that actually the bowlers have struggled to control it, particularly into the right-hander and down the leg side. We've seen a few fly away down the leg side and defeat the keeper.
Krishna is in full dug-out, rather, by Bharat. His instinct is to get on the front foot and try and drive it, but by the time he did so, again, the pace of the ball had rather defeated him, and he examines the bottom of his bat, having jammed down on it rather than driven it away, as he had hoped to do. The 150 came up in that over, 154 for 7. KS Bharat has 21. Umesh Yadav has yet to get off the mark, and really, he should be back in the pavilion. Roman Walker, having spilled a simple caught and bowled chance in his previous over.
Every time Roman Walker is playing that back in his head, it gets easier and easier and easier.
remember once seeing Jimmy Orman drop Alistair Brown of Surrey, who you'll remember, maybe.
Not somebody who you want to drop when they're going well, Alistair Brown, as Walker's in. This is defended off the splice, really, by Umesh Yadav to extra cover Sam Evans, and there is no run. Alistair Brown could hit the ball a very, very long way.
He was on over 200 at the time.
Oh, is
So
it that list
you.
day? Is it that one-day game where he... Surrey... Oh, isn't it? This is
It was a championship game, but it was at Oakham.
Oh,
which
right.
was very,
In
very
these
flat.
parts, yeah. As Umesh picked the bat up as though he was going to give Roman Walker the big drive down the ground, but just blocked it up to Sakande at mid-on.
He went on to get over 300 that day.
Some of these, there are a lot of, this doesn't happen in India, it does happen in some other countries, schools, private schools that are used as first-class grounds here. Think of Merchant Taylors and others. That's a very full delivery that I think Umesh Yadav has just managed to get a squirty outside edge on. Otherwise, that would have been a very loud LBW appeal indeed. A good full Neely Yorker from Roman Walker, which is a pleasingly half-rhymed sentence. 154 for 7. Yeah, Oakham, Stuart Broad's alma mater.
Correct.
As Umesh faces up to Walker, does give him the big drive and thumps it back over his head. That has gone one bounce for into those green seats at the Bennett end. 4 runs to Umesh Yadav. Good shot.
Oakham is the only outground that is now occasionally used by Leicestershire. They used to play in various places in the county, and of course Oakham isn't in Leicestershire. It is the county town of Rutland, England's smallest county.
As Walker is in, having been smashed back down the ground by the number 9, bowls back of a length, and this is just guided to backward point, and there is no run. Bowley is still warming up. Wonder if he'll get a go. I would probably bring Bowley on from the end that Walker is now bowling to, simply because if he comes on from this end to the right hander, that leg side boundary is nothing more than a flick. As Umesh faces up, last ball of the over, getting some advice from the crowd, size this towards that short boundary, and has found it with ease. Once it got past the infield, there was no way anyone was getting near that. 2 fours in 3 balls from Umesh Yadav. That's the way that he is best off playing. I think he's 8 off 11. KS Bharat is 21 off 66. India 162 for 7.
These next few overs might be rather fun. Bowley takes off his cap, revealing a shock of blonde hair. Hands it to umpire Warren. He's going to be bowling from, you feel, the wrong end. Dangerous
Put
end.
it this way, as a spinner, particularly bowling to an aggressive batter, I think I would prefer to be bowling from the other end.
The meat building, that curious former railway shed down there at mid-wicket, may be endangered. It's brilliant watching from in there, by the way. It has sort of picture windows, so not plate glass, I don't think. Well, there might be plate glass, because sometimes I've seen them hit. And you do get a wonderful sort of slightly sideways, I admit, but a really sort of close-up view of the cricket, especially with the pitch, when the pitch is cut on that side of the square. So Bowley's going to be bowling to KS Bharat with a slip. Steps to the crease and bowls, tosses it up. His slog swept over mid-wicket for 6.
And that cleared the boundary by a fair distance. That's gone into the... Okay, there's only 5 rows of seats, but it's gone into the back of them. I can sort of understand it in one way, because the breeze is coming towards us and he's tossing it up into the breeze, which is not a bad thing for a spinner in terms of drift. I just worry that for a young, inexperienced spinner, it's just a sort of step and hit for KS Bharat and Umesh Yadav into the leg side.
Warren examining the ball, which they are sort of concrete, those terraces underneath those bright yellowy orange plastic seats over there. So if it did connect with them, there might be a couple of marks on the ball. Bowley is in. Bharat's going to reverse sweep him for 4 more, and does. Quickly changed hands. The ball was in the air in the point of delivery, no third man, comfortable 4-10 off the first 2 balls of the unfortunate Nat Bowley's over.
Look, a spinner sometimes has to buy a wicket, and sometimes you have to buy them expensively. And who knows, Bharat might get a bit over aggressive. He is a pretty decent player. A spin likes to hit square the wicket, sort of slog sweeps and reverse sweeps. He actually adjusted very well because that was quite full, and he managed to get that fine into the gap rather than the hard hit one square. That backward point's gone almost onto the boundary out on the offside.
So where is Bowley going to bowl this one? Steps in and bowls another reverse sweep, and that is going to be just one, might be two. He's turning for the second. The throw is coming in. Good throw as well next to the stumps, but he had comfortably made his ground called. He had to have through for the second.
Almost lapped Umesh Yadav, which is quite impressive given that he had to get up off one knee. Because his fielder's out square of the wicket on both sides. The deep point is maybe 5 or 10 in off the boundary. The deep square leg is right on it, as is the deep mid-wicket.
Bowley is in, bowls a full toss, and ironically, all that Bharat can do is drive it firmly to mid-wicket, where Evans is the fielder. So, arguably the worst ball he's bowled. Doesn't get hit all around the park. Bowley is in little hop and a step, and then he walks almost to the crease and bowls. That's a good delivery that almost beats Bharat in the flight, rather. He has to adjust at the last minute. Plays it defensively with an angle bat. There's going to be an overthrow if they want it. They don't. Yadav wasn't really looking. He had the call from KS Bharat, but by that time Walker had come running in from the long on boundary, so Yadav is now going to be on strike.
And long off.
Krishna comes back to long off, yeah.
The long on's back as well.